said, now, all you vinyl varmints and all you record collecting crew, if I got a box of records for you, oh, the barbarians who invented these didn't mean it to sound like that.
I'm sure they didn't.
I said barbarians, too, like Germans, not
Oh.
barbarians.
Okay.
Maybe it's the barbarians playing it now. Who knows? But
Barbarians, drummer?
Multi with the drummer for the
right?
barbarians
Right.
with a hook hand. Are you a boy or are you a girl?
That's right.
That's right.
Good to see you again. It's been a while.
Yeah, show number 32, and how are you, Shadow Man?
Shadow Man's very, very busy, as you know.
As you know, yes, busy, busy, busy.
It's always
People say would describe Shadow Man, they'd say busy.
Busy,
Yes,
busy,
very,
busy,
very busy.
busy looking busy.
Like a buzzing hive. Yes, he is.
Oh, before we get into today's show, I sent an email to someone, Rick, Perfume Garden. Rick, I don't know if you got it or not. I think it went out. If you didn't get it, or you did get it, let me know, because I haven't been able to sleep since. Okay.
Get in touch. Okay, today's show is singer-songwriters. And we're going to highlight a few individuals here on Box of Records. And we're going to start out with a guy, John D Loudermilk. Now this album was out in 1961 on RCA, and this guy wrote a lot of stuff. He wrote Tobacco Road, that was done later on by the
Nashville Teens.
Nashville Teens, yes. And he wrote Cherokee Nation, I believe it's called, or Indian Reservation, the one that Mark Lindsay did later on. He wrote Abilene, all sorts of country western songs. Walk Back Trembling Lips. Yeah. Shaky Hands, or whatever that one goes. Also, it's amazing the stuff this guy wrote. But anyway, this is, I imagine, where the Nashville Teens, which are actually a British group, picked it up. And you get one of the singers in the Nashville Teens, they had two at the same time, and was Len Tuckey, who later on was with Susie Quatro in her band.
So there.
So there. All right. Everybody's Talking by Fred Neal. Now, of course, this got to be a big hit for Midnight Cowboy, and Nilsson sang it. But this is the guy, a folk singer, I guess. Probably everybody hates to be categorized as a folk singer, just like every punk rocker hates it, and every alt person hates it, you know. But this is the category that most people would find this in, acoustic-driven songwriting. Yep. And of course his career had a bit of a boost from them using that song. This fellow here, Dyke Parks, Warner Brothers, is a individual that was involved with Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys when they got into Heroes and Villains, and later on the more elaborate orchestral stuff he had a lot to do with. And this guy's album is unbelievable, the musicians that are on here. And, you know, the Wrecking Crew and all those people, and string sections and horns and all that to do these very, very strange, petite songs, you know? Interesting guy.
So are you. So are you.
Yeah, it's just bursting out of me.
Nothing bursting out of me.
Jerry Jeff Walker. Now, he wrote Mr. Bojangles. I bought this album, I remember when I was a teenager, because I heard a song called The Hulk on this. And very Dylan-ish kind of full band thing that I thought was very, very cool. I still like it. And,
Mr. Bojangles.
Yeah, did Atco, Atlantic. And that's David Bromberg on the back playing with him, of course. Had his whole own career and had a lot of association with Dylan. Okay. John Hartford. Now, most people knew John Hartford if you're of a certain age. Now, this still has the plastic on it, I'm sorry. That's why it's a little shiny. Yeah, because he was on the Smothers Brothers.
Well,
he was a regular on the Smothers Brothers, and he wrote Gentle on My Mind, which Glenn Campbell had a big hit with. So he had a very quirky wore the derby and all that, but was a good songwriter. And he wrote a song called I've Been Flushed from the Bathroom of Your Heart, which they do on one of the Johnny Cash prison albums, which probably got him the most bread of anything he ever did. I saw Jack Clement, the guy who's on Sun Records and producer down in New Orleans playing, and he said the most money he made of everything he wrote was Egg Suckin' Dog, because they sang it on one of the prison albums, Johnny Cash being, that is. Gentle on My Mind. John Hartford.
That guy with the runny nose, that's me. Postnasal drip.
Oh, I thought it was...
No, it's not what you think it is. Mikey, don't do that.
Okay, this guy we could do a show on, just passed away last year.
Oh, yes, I know John.
John Prine. Now, I brought this because this is about my favorite album. This is his second album. It's kind of a dark, but humorous, like he always was. So when I was reading all sorts of stuff about him when he died, somebody very perceptively said, he was never a West Coast patchouli,
What's wrong with patchouli?
Well, you know what I mean.
I know.
It represents a certain type of mellowness that he never really was. And it's more of associate with Bonnie Raitt and Tom Waits and the kind of edgier LA thing he got into too.
There's a hole in Daddy's arm where
Yes,
all the money
Sam
goes?
Stone. That was his first album.
Sam Stone.
And a lot of his things, but this is a great little album, second one. But as I said, and he did an album a few years later called Pink Cadillac, he did down in Memphis. A lot of people had Pink Cadillac Springsteen.
That's what I was...
Sisters.
Yeah.
But that was one of the last things it was the last thing that Sam Phillips produced in Memphis. He did Phillips Studios and a song called Saigon. It was pretty wild.
Saigon.
Saigon. Honey, 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 Saigon.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought we should bring Phil Ochs.
Oh, I dig Phil.
I ain't a-marching anymore.
Outside of it's not on this album, but outside of a small circle of friends, I have the other Phil Ochs albums. We'll get to that when I get to my P section.
Oh, okay.
Of course, you're not going to learn anything here. If you want to know anything about Phil Ochs, it's the man.
Well, you say he's certainly a contemporary of Bob Dylan.
Oh, look outside your window. There's a woman being dragged. They've dragged her to some bushes and now she's being sad. Maybe we should call the cops and try to ease her pain. But Monopoly is so much fun, I'd hate to blow the game. Or something like that.
Something like that, I'm sure.
We're going to get a strike against us.
Oh, no, that's
Not
very
likely.
cool. I didn't know you realized that.
Oh, I love that song.
I appreciate you singing my song for me. That's been a great tribute.
Oh, no problem, Phil.
Okay, this is nice coffee. Richard Farina and Mimi Farina. Now that's Joan Baez's sister. But
Didn't know that.
he was really into the dulcimer. And this album was a big favorite of Brian Jones and the Stones at the time, and that's why Brian got his own electric dulcimer made for him and played it on Lady Jane and many of the Rolling Stones songs. And that is the Rolling Stones reference of the day, which always makes Attic Daddy feel good. And once again, Charlie Watts.
Cheers, Charlie.
We've already done our Charlie, but it'll never end.
Yeah, and cheers to everybody out there in the BC community. Hope everybody's...
Today I'm drinking some Benzodrine.
Oh, straight?
No, it's dissolved in a stubby cola. Vintage stubby cola from the 40s too.
Oh.
And I was just thinking, because James Bond puts some Benzodrine in his drink he gets from the main office from Q, because he has to play this card game against Le Chiffre in Casino Royale, and he wants to be especially alert. So I wanted to remember...
Benzodrine, is that the drug of choice of the Nazis back in the day, or is that something else?
I think they invented it, actually, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, when you see
I hate when the
Blitzkrieg.
records slide out the bottom.
Yeah, it happens.
Not really, I don't care.
Well.
But anyway, Dan Hicks had a lot of albums. Dan Hicks and his Hot Licks. He was in a band called the Charlatans out of San Francisco. And that's why the British band, the Charlatans, were called Charlatans UK later on, because of the original Charlatans band. And Dan Hicks on his own, and this was for a not non-finished, but incomplete cartoon that they were making with his, but this is the soundtrack, the music he did for it. This is very cool. And if you know, hard to describe Dan Hicks, but
Anything on the back?
yeah, just some more,
All
more
right.
cartoons. And my friend who owned a record store in Port Colborne, a Record on Wheels, actually had a poster sent to her from the record company, from Warner Brothers, for this.
Really?
She gave to me, and I gave to my brother-in-law Dougie, because he was a fan. If you could call him a fan, but he liked.
He was a friend.
He liked, he was a friend of Dan Hicks. Okay, lastly, now this is called David Lannon's Street Singer, and that's what he is. And this is on San Francisco Records, about 1969. And it's this guy who wanders the streets and somehow gets a big gatefold album of people walking around, recording him.
You see if you
And
recognize.
he does the Dylan song, You Ain't Going Nowhere. And there's all the people. And it looks of its time so much.
Yeah.
I like that guy at the end there, if he's part of it, or he's just dressed really cool, or he's
It's an old
Hell's
picture.
Angels in town for a business meeting or something. But, and that's today's singers-songwriters. I hope you enjoyed that.
I did.
Yeah, a little something, no, I wouldn't say it's a little different. It's all out of the box there. So,
Yeah. We're
not outside you like, oh, maybe we are. I don't know.
I
It
know.
just gets used so much. Yes.
I guess. I'm just stumbling around here. If you've been watching my solo effort, congratulations. You deserve a medal. Like I say, my show's the opposite of what my friend Addict Daddy's is. I got nothing. I can just flip albums. And, you know.
And I'm all about the minutiae.
That's right.
The minutiae.
Thank God, because sometimes
Yes.
you want to know what the hell's going on.
Minutiae.
You've had your tea.
What the fun.
You got it.